And joining us is Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya. He is a former Indian ambassador to Egypt, Turkey and Switzerland. Ambassador Bhattacharya, welcome to DD India News Up. If I may begin by asking you, Ambassador, how optimistic are you that the Israel-Hamas ceasefire will hold and the talks will make progress on phase 2 of the agreement?
I must confess that when the ceasefire was announced and the initial terms of the ceasefire, I was keeping my fingers crossed. But now there is a sense of relief that at least 6 of these phases of the exchange have taken place. And despite the fact that there has been a lot of rhetoric, I would wish to, as a diplomat particularly and as a negotiator, wish to remain optimistic. I think what we have seen is that despite the provocations that have been mentioned by both sides, they have stuck to the pattern that they had agreed upon for phase 1. There is still some more time to go till the 2nd of March. So we will wait to see how the thing unfolds. There are new developments that have taken place, and I must congratulate the Egyptian and the Qatari negotiators, the mediators, who have held this very fragile understanding together. And I hope for the best.
Talking about new developments, as you put it, Ambassador, Saudi Arabia will host the leaders of Egypt, Jordan, Qatar and the UAE to discuss about Donald Trump's Gaza plan. It will take place ahead of an Arab League meeting in Cairo on the 27th of this month on the same issue. Is the Arab world predisposed to Trump's Gaza plan?
Well, it does appear that the reactions that have come from the Arab world are not supportive of the Trump plan or the Trump statements that were made. The contours of a plan, if there is still to be unveiled. And I do think that when the King of Jordan was in Washington, D.C. recently, it was a particularly uncomfortable moment for the Arabs because this was kind of suddenly sprung of them in a sense. What we did see today as well, and we saw both elements of the Hamas as well as the Islamic Jihad, who were involved in the handover ceremony of the 3 hostages who were handed over to the Red Cross, that they were present at an event which was very carefully choreographed, and the banner behind them suggested that they would brook no evacuation and they would go to no place other than Jerusalem. So I think the nature of the Gazans is definitely very clear. There was joy and relief when many of the prisoners who are coming back were returned. So I think that is the pattern from Gaza. In the Arab world, I think despite the conversations that have taken place, the Arabs still believe that the people of Palestine must continue to stay in Palestine. Saudi Arabia has been more steadfast in the 2-state solution. And of course, they have not repeated the full definition of the old Arab accord that they had usually referred to. But I think some of that would come through when the Saudis hold the meeting and subsequently the Arab League comes together. The Arab League, as you know, has barely deviated from the broad pattern. And so I suspect that the response that will come from the Arab side will be not very unexpected.
And finally, Ambassador Bhattacharya, I have a twofold question for you. One, what are India's stakes in West Asia peace? And 2, Prime Minister Modi and President Trump discussed about the India, West Asia, Europe Economic Corridor and the West Asian Quad comprising India, Israel, the US and the UAE. Does the future bode well for such infrastructure and transport connectivity projects?
Well, for India, as you are aware, this is our extended neighborhood, and therefore our stakes in that region are enormous. They're deep and diversified, and they hold the key to the future that we wish to build for ourselves and for our partners in that region. We have the closest partnership not only with Israel, but many of the Arab states. And therefore, to be invested in an enduring, stable peace and security environment in that region is critical for our interests, as also they are for theirs. So we do hope that the sense of peace, the ceasefire will continue, and so that other things can unfold. The Abraham Accords that had been unleashed had actually gained great positive momentum. And I think the time is now ripe for continuing the ceasefire between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and for renewing the understanding that was there in the Abraham Accords in a new form, certainly. And India could certainly play a very significant role in bringing the two sides together. And that, once peace is established, will unveil the possibilities that are endless for that region, whether it is IMEC or I2U2 or the many other things that we have of great strategic importance, both for us and the region, will then begin to flower and blossom.
All right, on that note, Ambassador Bhattacharya, thank you once again for joining us and sharing your thoughts with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.